Hello everybody, this is Stephen Howson. This is my Snapchat Q&A, so thank you to everybody that sent in Snapchat questions. Gonna try and get through all of them, pictures and videos, and see what we can come up with. We're just gonna turn the volume up on this so we can hear the pictures straight off the bat. Not done a preview for Leicester. Not sure if I'm going to continue doing the previews and reviews. Obviously, it kind of doubles up what I'm already doing on Full Time Devils. Let me know in the comments what you think, whether I should continue with the previews and reviews or if I should just mix it up with the content. Very soon I'm going to be starting doing more gaming, obviously, once Footy Manager drops and FIFA drops. So one of the videos like that, which takes a long time of researching and filming and then editing, might get dropped off. So we'll get into that in a bit, but Snapchat time. So let's first one off the bat. Alex Burton says, what are my thoughts on a 3 centre-back formation? I quite like it. I wouldn't necessarily go 5 in the middle, though. I would go 3-4-3. Is the way I like to see a 3 at the back played. You have wingers used as wing backs, or your right midfielder and left midfielder used a little bit as wing backs. A forward 3 able to operate, and there's loads of different shapes you can make with the 4 midfielders really. And essentially, a lot of formations do drop into, especially ones that have got a holding midfielder, drop into like a 3 at the back anyway, because the fullbacks are often pushed forward. And that defensive midfielder sort of makes like a bit of a loose triangle with the 2 centre-halves anyway. So that's very similar to how a 3 at the back would operate. It's just that in a 3 at the back, generally the 2 wider centre-halves have sort of dual responsibilities to almost be like a full-back. I think a 3 at the back formation can be very fluid when you play it, but people treat it like it's a bit witchcraft in it to play it. But I like a 3 at the back formation. Ahmed Wrestling says, who do you think is our best captain ever? Roy Keane's the most successful, and also probably close to the most psychopathic. Brian Robson, known as Captain Marvel, I think has to be in the shout for it. I mean, Gary Neville wasn't a bad one, was he? Vidic. Those are the ones that I've had in my lifetime. Cantona led as a different sort of captain, instead of the shouty type ones. If you're going to make me choose, I'm going to say Roy Keane. Liam D. He was club captain when we won the treble as well, wasn't he? So, Liam D. If Pogba didn't cost £1, do you think he would be staring? I'm assuming he means starting. Yeah, absolutely. And the price tag is relative to what he's worth, and I do think that he's going to come good. People want him to fail is the thing. So, it's a story. The press can run it if he didn't have a great game. I thought he played fantastic in his first match for us against Southampton. He's not quite been that good since, but he's not been like, oh my god, he's been really bad. He's just not really done enough in those games. But it will come. Nate Prendergrass says, opinions on the League of Ireland. I'm afraid, mate, I don't know enough about it. But if you send me some links, I will definitely watch some games. Scott Paley says, do I think Madrid's Galactico policy in the transfer market hurts them as a team? Absolutely, because if you look at what the players that they've had, and this is something that I've always had a problem with, when you look at the Barcelona and Real Madrid sides and you look at their inclusion in the Ballon d'Or rankings year on year, I did a study on this on the old MUFC latest site before we changed the design over, and when we changed the design over we didn't take all of the articles on, so the article's gone, and it was looking at the disproportionate number of Ballon d'Or awards, and not just awards but the second and third places that go to Barcelona and Real Madrid players versus how they perform domestically or on European stage. Like, they obviously outperform. If you look at, like, basically the last however many Ballon d'Ors have gone to Messi and Ronaldo. So when you look at the amount of Champions Leagues that have actually gone to Barcelona and Real Madrid, it's not quite proportionate, and especially when you include the second and third places in there as well. I think the Ballon d'Or needs to be shifted around a hell of a lot more than it is. And I think people need to start looking at the Spanish League as being clearly easier than some of the other leagues around the world for the amount of goals that you see scored on the domestic level. What they score in the Champions League gives you a little bit more of an indication. They're still obviously at the top end of it, but I think it's a little bit more realistic when you see what they score in the Champions League. Najee Snap. Najee? How far on the table do you reckon United will end up? How far on the table do you reckon we'll end up until Jose gets it right? Oh, how far down, I'm assuming you mean. You shouldn't really look at a table before 7 or 8 games anyway. It might take that long for it to get in. hopefully it doesn't take too much longer. But I think the gift and the curse of how difficult the Premier League is and how competitive the Premier League is means that a poor start can be overturned because everyone else is about to drop points, but also a poor start can leave you really off the pace because you're going to drop more points later on in the league. So you just got to take every game as it comes and hope you can rack up the 3 points as much as possible. Amit Suri says, what will be your midfield three for the game against Leicester? Updates on Chung and Gomez. And Pepe's bald. My midfield three, I would like to see Carrick, Herrera and Pogba. I just hope that, and I think there's a lot of us that want to see that as well. Stephen O'Leary says, I don't know if I'm too late, but what do I think the future is like for Fosu? He's got to play as a midfielder. If you try and judge him off that one game that he played at right back against Northampton where he wasn't the greatest, then you're not going to be getting the full picture of Fosu Mensah, are you? If you judge him over maybe a dozen games, then you're going to see the real quality that he's got. He's 18, so there's no pressure on him to break into the team yet. He's got 2-3 years before he should really need to be playing week in, week out. If he gets in before then, great. If he doesn't, it's not the end of the world. But I think if he doesn't get into the team this year, then certainly next year he's got to look at going on a loan somewhere where he's going to play 30-plus matches and be a bit more of an integral part of the side. That's where you grow and that's where you develop as a footballer, in that week in, week out grind. And I think it'd be fantastic whether it is here or it is on loan somewhere. Harry Mills says, Herrera seemed to go missing in some games last season. Carrick, Herrera and Pogba good for now, but what if Herrera begins to underperform after 15-20 matches? I don't agree that he went missing. I think what happens is that when you're in the team and out of the team and in the team and out of the team and in the team and out of the team, that has an effect on your performance. You don't ever get to settle. You're constantly a little bit more stressed. Just look at Memphis, for instance, at the moment. Anytime he gets on the pitch, he looks like he's terrified to make a mistake. He looks like he's panicking, and that leads to errors. And I don't think Herrera really went missing. I just think that sometimes he just didn't perform. And I think you can put not performing down to a number of things. And one of the things I would say is just consistency of getting games. And it's the same with anybody. If you give them consistent games, you'll be surprised at what they can achieve. But often, people don't get games. They get in, and people expect them to perform, and they don't. And then they're out the next week, and then they never really get the chance to rectify it. So, unfortunately, you're in a must-win game almost every single week for United. And if you fuck up and you don't win that game, scapegoats get made. Press go bananas on pressure. Fans overreact on social media. And these changes need to be happening straight away. The only person that's not had that sort of treatment really is Rooney. And he's feeling like a pent-up building of people pissed off with him at the moment. You can't really see people getting too overexcited about, Memphis or Fosu not having great games. But Rooney's like, this guy never gets dropped. And he's shit at the moment. So I think there's a bit of a pent-up building of pressure behind Rooney still starting. And I think that's what you're seeing people really annoyed with at the moment. Jack Heelam says, Tuanzebe looked wicked against Derby, and Harrop, do you see them getting a shot at the first team? Harrop I'm not too sure about because we've got a lot of midfielders. And again, Tuanzebe, we've got a lot of defenders. But I think Tuanzebe is the first of the generation coming through that are going to get something like that. Kazim134 says, after 3 years, do I expect Jose to leave? If so, who do you see coming in after him? I hope someone's already making those reservations to see who's available to bring in. Pochettino's a name that I would like to see if he can go and win something, but I don't see him winning the Premier League, and I think that's something that whoever we go for needs to have on their resume. Not just a Premier League, I mean a domestic league. If not, Simeone is a good shout, I think. If Ancelotti's still got the fight in him to do a few years, then I'd like to see Ancelotti, because I'm pretty sure he's going to add a European Cup at Bayern Munich to his tally at some point. And then, who knows, there might be another manager has emerged by then, maybe Laurent Blanc, maybe Ryan Giggs. Maybe if Giggs goes to Swansea and succeeds, maybe there's a big clamour for Ryan Giggs to come back, so we will have to see, but it will be interesting and it will be a hell of a ride. Mourinho could stay 10 years, he could be gone by May. It could be either of those things and anything in between. Tring1811 says, what's your thoughts on the treatment of Luke Shaw? Would be idiotic to unsettle such a talent, especially after an injury like his. And UFC main fight prediction, I think it's going to be Alvarez and Conor, although there's some talk that it might be Khabib versus Alvarez. Luke Shaw, it was the papers overreacting to a throwaway comment. All Mourinho said was he was out of position for a goal, and he was. I've got no issue with that. Carl Osborne says, which of the players out on loan do I think has the best chance of breaking back into the first team when they get back, and which do you think has the least chance? I think probably Pereira is probably going to have the least chance just because of the amount of players that he's very similar to. I think the best chance, despite having Luke Shaw, who's obviously an extremely similar player to him, I think Cameron Borthwick-Jackson's got a hell of a shot of getting into the team. He's smashing it at Wolves at the moment. Daniel Feeney 16 says, if you could put any United player in the octagon for one round, who would it be and why? Pogba or Zlatan? Zlatan's obviously a black belt in Taekwondo, and there's some confusion about that, but I did do some reading up on it when he was signed in the summer. He has got an honorary black belt from the Italian Taekwondo team because obviously he was based in Italy for some time. But he is also a legit black belt, got a black belt while he was still in Sweden. So I'd like to see him because Taekwondo is a brilliant base, and it's a spectacular, exciting base as well. So I'd love to see Zlatan, but also Pogba looked like he knew what he was doing when you saw him hitting the pads in the summer, didn't you? And some of the gyms that he went out to in New York are not shady gyms either, so maybe he knows a thing or two. I wonder if he's training in Manchester while he's here. I'd be very interested to find out if any of the gyms in Manchester have had him down. That'd be awesome. Ali Saudi says, what do I think of us playing a 4-4-2 diamond? Ibra, Rashford, Marshall as strikers, Rooney or Mickey at 10 and a 3-man midfield. He's not going to play two up front. As much as I'd like to see us try a two up front, Jose isn't going to play two up front. Not as two strikers like that, at least anyway. Jordan O'Flynn says, name the 2020 United squad. Shit, 4 years from now? I hope David De Gea. I hope Pogba. I hope Rashford. Obviously Fosu Mensah and maybe Angel Gomez in there as a 20-year-old just breaking through, causing havoc. Outside of that, I hope Luke Shaw's still around. I remember Ben that I did a podcast with, me and him were sat outside his house once at like 4 a.m. just talking utter shit with each other. And one of the things that we was talking about was how and this was 2004, I think. We just signed Rooney, and we was looking at the players that we had going forward. And we was like, we've got Ronaldo, we've got Rooney, we've got Wes Brown, Rio. We've got players that are going to be around for a long time, and that turned out to be true. And not too many years after that, we started being more competitive in the league again. We had a couple of years in the wilderness as Chelsea was dominating, and Arsenal won the league that year. But we got back into the mix, and not only did we get back into the mix, we went on and win 3 on a row, and then 3 Champions League finals. So when you've got the young basis of a squad with world-class potential like we have at the moment, the future is bright. You just might have to suck it for a couple of years, and I guess if we have to, we have to. Lost it. Anupathanwan. Sorry, mate, I've butchered your name there. Do you think Mourinho will ever be sacked like Moyes and LVG? Yeah, I think there's every chance he could be sacked if it goes completely tits up. I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that we've found the man that we think can take us forward. But if he fails, yeah, he will absolutely be sacked. I'm sure of it. Oh, there's absolutely loads. Let's work through some. Addy K. Wasn't Ronald Koeman a better choice as a manager than Mourinho? As a proven winner, as a player and part of the Barca dream team under Cruyff, he's done a good job at Southampton. Tactically, he's a better manager than Mourinho now, and it's gone off the screen. No, I think he still needs to prove himself. Done all right at Southampton, but others have done all right at Southampton as well. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go on and do stuff. There's some stuff that I know about Koeman, the way he works as well, which is very Van Gaalish, and I don't think it would suit us. So no, I'm open-minded. I think he's a great appointment for Everton. Certainly better than Martinez, but we will see. Official Charlie Z says, should United look at Simeone's contract ending in 2 years? Absolutely. Owen F10 says, favourite goal from last season? Marshall's against Liverpool, probably. Yeah, I think probably Marshall's. I think it won goal of the season, didn't it? It might have won goal of the season. I can't remember. Jamie Hunt 001. Do I think that Rooney will be dropped this weekend? And do you think it's true Mourinho said he won't sign anyone in January? Has he said he won't sign anyone in January? There's a lot of talk that we might be signing people in January, so I wouldn't wouldn't rule us out signing anyone in January, because it looks like there's still areas to be filled in the squad, and I would drop Rooney. Don't know if Mourinho will though. Thomas Honkanen. Do you think that? What do I think about United being interested in Drinkwater? Again, that's the sort of player that I'm talking about. It looks like they want more, or he wants more strength in midfield. So I don't know. He's homegrown. He's an academy player. I think his stock's the highest it's ever going to be after winning the league last season. But is he of the quality we need? I don't think so, in all honesty. Lachlan Kuzik says, should Memphis start as Marshall is out? I think it might be Lingard that starts, in all honesty. But I want to see Memphis given more opportunities, absolutely. And 1994 says, thoughts on break his face quote? I haven't seen break his face. What do you mean? You have to fill me in on that one. Marshall Bartram says, who's better, Angel or Marcus Edwards? Who's Marcus Edwards? Am I supposed to know who Marcus Edwards is? Soul Cocaine. It just sounds as that. Kes Carl says, thoughts on Marshall and his form? He doesn't look happy, does he? But by all accounts, he's just like a bit of a miserable guy. He does need to find some rhythm in his play, otherwise he's not gonna progress, is he? And I think at the moment, I don't know. I think there might be personal reasons affecting him, but he needs to get over them. And I know it's easier said than done, but he does need to get over them and get back into the habit of scoring, because when he's on form, he looks unplayable at times, and he doesn't look that at the moment. He looks a shadow of himself. Jamie Rolfe says, what do I say to a 4-4-2 versus Leicester? Again, I just don't see a 4-4-2, mate, in all honesty. I think there's just no chance of Mourinho doing it, at the moment at least. Kelboff21 says, Connor versus Alvarez or Connor versus Aldo 2. I'd like to see Alvarez. I don't think he's going back down to 145. I think he'll vacate. Joshua UK says, midfield free for Leicester, Carrick, Herrera and Pogba, mate. Bamford Alex says, would I be scared if Simeone joins Arsenal next season? Yes, I would. Absolutely would, yeah, because Wenger's not winning the league. Simeone won't win the league, though. Absolutely, definitely would be scared. If Simeone went to Arsenal, the footballers that they've got at their disposal, that's a terrifying prospect. Absolutely. Even if we've been successful in the interim, we've still got Mourinho, and if City've still got Pep and Conte's still at Chelsea, fucking hell, if Simeone came and went to Arsenal, they'd be a legitimate threat as well. Absolute chaos. Push T7 says, what does Herrera have to do to start? Keep putting in good performances like he did against Northampton. It'll come eventually, I think. J Murphy 2000 says, sell, loan, keep and sell to Anzebu, Warren and Roshan. Fucking hell. Can't do it, mate. Can't do it. They're all local, homegrown lads, and they're all mint in different ways. Can't fucking do it to them. M-Toyn 2123 says, judging by the shape of the squad so far, what areas do you think need to be improved in the summer or even January? It looks like they want another midfielder. I think we need out-and-out actual free-running wingers, or a winger at least. Just someone that's just that different sort of outlet. Someone who just dribbles constantly. That sort of outlet on the wing. Someone who likes to beat a man. Mahrez, if you like. J Roger 737 says, how did I become a presenter on Full Time Devils? Of the video, by the way. I run the United website, MUFC Latest, and they used to send me videos and say, do you mind embedding them? And I embedded them. And then they said, do you want to come and do a video? And I said, yeah. And then it was like, do you fancy getting involved in a preview? And I was like, yeah. And then they're like, do you want to do some presenting? And I was like, yeah. And that is it, really. So there you go. Kieran Stevo says, can United still win the league, or is City just playing too well to drop points? They was in the exact same position last season. A couple of key players that get injured, and they will get injured or banned or something. And you just got to capitalise. They always sort of fuck it up once the meat of the Champions League, week in, week out, and everything starts getting on top of them. So you just got to hope that, keep the pressure on and see what happens. Arsenal have usually won the league anyway in October every single year, and we all know what happens, so just chill. Long old season. Addy says, any news on the new mini stadium and major news from the youth parents meeting with the club? Absolutely nothing at the moment, no updates. As soon as I get any updates, I'll throw them out. H. Larkin says, going to the actual premiere of the Oasis movie. Oh, bollocks! I really want to see that. That does look good. I'm going to hold that, replay that one, see where that is. It's at the Odeon. Is that the one in the Trafford Centre? I do need to see that. That does look good. Rollo Squire, it's a video, I think.
Thoughts on Schneiderlin? I think he should be starting every game.
Thoughts on Schneiderlin? I think he should be starting every game. I think Schneiderlin will eventually take over the role like Carrick's got. I think he's a lot more mobile than Carrick, but I think he can control the game in a similar way. Defensively, I think he's what Carrick is. I think going forward, I think Carrick's got a little bit more to his game, but I think Morgan makes up with that with physicality a little bit more, certainly mobility. I think he can be an eventual successor to the role that Carrick offers, but again, he needs starts. I thought he was great for us last season. I thought he was unfairly benched a lot of the time. Hugh Malone says, bit mainstream, but do you think United can win the league? Of course we can win the league. Long fucking season yet. It's September, middle of September, end of September. Shit, they don't give medals out now. Taran says, do I think Pogba will be another Di Maria? Absolutely not. Pogba wants to be here. Di Maria didn't want to be here. Huge difference. Give the guy time. Nicky OC12 says, this tuna wrap does a good job in midfield. Just a good job of that Fellaini does in midfield. What's its chest like though? Ethan Williams 21 says, should Fosu be meant to get more game time? At the moment I don't see where. There's a lot of midfielders I think should start ahead of him. Obviously I'd love to see him come through and have the sort of all-round combative games that we see him having in the academy. But he's young, he's got plenty of time. Jamie J. Walsh says, if I could have 3 players from City, who would they be? Aguero, Silva and... Is Hart still on loan? If Hart's only on loan, then I'll have Hart just so he can reorganise the books in the Megastore. But Aguero and Silva can actually play for us. Lucy and Morris said, what Invincible would you take at United? Right, can we just take the name Invincibles out of Arsenal, please, actually? Because they lost more that season than we lost in the treble season. So let's not call them Invincibles, eh? Just because you didn't lose in one competition, who gives a shit? We didn't lose in the Champions League that year. I'd rather not lose in the Champions League than not lose in the league. You drew about 117 games, didn't you? Let's not call them Invincibles. But Terry Henry, to answer your question, because he was a hell of a footballer. Jack Gerrard 9 says, do I think that Mourinho finds his best... When Mourinho finds his best 11 and we build form and confidence amongst the team and the fans, other teams such as Liverpool, Chelsea and Arsenal will start to slip. I just think City have a dip just later on. You don't know. Timing's never often like predictable, are they, about who's going to hit form at the right time. I do think we are getting closer to finding it. Mourinho's clearly trying stuff. If he was just doing the same thing, this was what people lost their shit with Van Gaal. Van Gaal would roll the same shit out every single week and go, oh, I'm getting the same result every single week. That was what blew people's minds and was like, what the fuck are you doing, mate? Can you not see the issues that we're seeing on the pitch? Mourinho started with 4-2-3-1 and he started to change it. Things have started to change. One of the things that started to change is Marcus Rashford's been introduced into the team, and that might be a permanent change, but he's changed it from 4-2-3-1 to 4-3-3. I think the next change is very likely to be Wayne Rooney out of the team, and once that happens, I think you might start to see something, and that's going to cause all kinds of shit, because if Wayne Rooney is left out of the team, I guarantee his agent goes on a fucking mad one and just releases all sorts of stuff. You think there's leaks now? Wait till Wayne Rooney's dropped. It will go fucking bananas. Omzi02 says, what do I think about the changes for the Champions League? Good for big clubs, bad for small... What changes are you talking about? I am not aware of any new changes, so you'll have to fill me in on that one. Big Boy Yayers says, do I think Marshall is best out on the left or as a number 9? Personally, I prefer him down the middle. I prefer him down the middle, but he is very effective with that really good close control, going to the byline and then cutting across the middle. Lulu T says, which Welsh player would you take at United besides Bale and Ramsey? Ashley Williams! As if you didn't know the answer to that. Jesus Christ, cunt. How many more games do you think we will lose this season? Do I think City will dip and potentially lose 3 games in a row? I'd be surprised if they lose 3 games in a row. And obviously, you're looking at different competitions. We didn't lose 3 league games in a row. I think what's probably going to kill them is the draws, because I see them conceding goals. And if someone could hold them to only a goal or 2 and they're still weak at the back, then you're going to see 1-0s and 2-0s from City. They're going to blow a lot of teams away, but there's also teams that are very good at set pieces that are going to get behind them and are going to get points against them. So I see them drawing a lot more than they lose, and obviously you don't need to lose many if you're drawing. That's still taking 2 points off you every single time, so who knows? We can but hope. Daniel Hollidge says, what is my job? What do you think my job is? And that is us for all of the pictures. There's a couple of text questions. Let's just go and run some random text questions. Oh, is it? Oh, fucking music. Music's going to get me pulled off YouTube, innit now? I'll find him one day outside a football pitch and I'll break his face. Who said that? Mourinho and Wenger in his new biography. Alright, that was what the quote everyone was on about earlier. Quality quote. Tommy Buckley says, how long do I think Pogba will be at the club for? At least 4 or 5 years. Hopefully longer. Adam R says, who should start against Leicester with Marshall being out, Rashford out wide? Yeah, I would probably go Mata and Rashford as my wingers, and obviously it's a completely different threat, and it's going to be lopsided. But I would go with Mata. Mata in the team, it helps facilitate that quick play, especially if you're going to play Herrera. What centre back pairing do I see us sticking with? I love your vids from Jack. I really don't know. It might be Bay and Smalling. You could end up seeing Blind moved into midfield. I mean, this is the problem, that we've got a lot of options at the moment without many clear starters in positions. If you look at the positions that we've got starters, you go, right, the number 6 or 8, whichever you want to call it, Paul Pogba, starter. Zlatan, starter. David De Gea, starter. Luke Shaw, starter. And then after that you go, could be him. Rashford's forcing his way into being one of those that's got a boom starter. But apart from that, there's just options. Mkhitaryan could easily come in and make one of the positions his own. I think Ander Herrera could come in and make one of the positions his own, but they've got to do it, and that's the issue at the moment. Someone has got to step up and start taking ownership and stop being options and start forcing their way to be permanent starters. Michael Carrick might do that if he starts and performs against Leicester. But again, limited. How many seasons has he got left at the top? 1, 2? None. Maybe he's got 10 weeks left in him for all we know. We don't know, do we? But that will do for today anyway. So this should hopefully be out in not too long. It's half an hour-ish long, so it shouldn't take that long. Make sure you join us on Full Time Devils tomorrow for all the matchday content. If you don't live in England, you'll be able to catch me 2 hours before kickoff on the kickoff show for Premier League TV. So please tune in, and I don't know, whichever channel you're at, let them know that you want me on again if you like me on again. I did it for the derby, and I'm back there tomorrow doing it as well. So obviously they must have liked the shit I was spouting. So that's that. 3 points against Leicester tomorrow, and everyone will be a happy bunny. No idea what the starting lineup is going to be tomorrow. Hoping for just a good performance. A good, honest, hard-working performance. See some goals. And let's get back into the swing of things. So thank you for watching. Thank you to everyone who sent a Snapchat in. Another reminder, we've got a Reddit Full-Time Devils subreddit, and one for this channel as well. So any questions that you've got for me, fire them into there, and I'm going to go answer them in a second. Yeah, that's about it, innit? So make sure you check out the Reddit, check out the podcast from last night. I've done a couple of tests today, one on YouTube, one on Facebook, for how we're going to stream the live podcast next week, which might be on Wednesday instead of Thursday this week, because United are playing, obviously. So thanks for your support on that. Thanks if you continue to subscribe. Spread the word, if you like what you see. Help us get there. The next milestone's 25,000. That feels fairly significant. But ultimately the target's 100,000 is where I want to be at. So you guys let me know, what sort of videos do you want me to do? Do you want me to continue doing the previews and reviews? Sometimes it feels like I'm repeating what I say. Is there a different spin I need to be putting on it? So do I need to look at it more statistical and analytical? Maybe look at it the next day. Maybe use some images. Can't use any video, but maybe use some images and do it like the next day rather than that night. Open forum. Hit Reddit. Let me know in Reddit what sort of videos you think I should be doing, because I'm about to buy a Raspberry Pi which enables me to do retro video games. So I'm going to do all of the old school football games. I'm talking FIFA, I'm talking Sensible Soccer, I'm talking Kickoff, I'm talking ISS. I'm talking all of those old school retro games. So there's going to be them on, plus Footy Manager, plus FIFA. So I think in the previews and reviews might get dropped off the channel. But you guys let me know what you think. Thank you for watching once again. I'll fucking see you guys later. 3 points in the bag tomorrow. See you in a bit.